Baseball is dead.
Rest in peace.
Every Wednesday, I want to start the show by doing a standings update. And I don't just mean going down every side. I want to pick a couple of teams and be like, all right, this is where they are in the division. This is what their record is. You probably haven't paid much attention to team X, Y, and Z. And I want to hit on that.
Red Sox are in last. They're 9-9.
You are not in a position to speak at all.
Well, I was it was the first division that I looked at.
Yeah,
that's
not
all.
Even, it's very hollow coming from you.
It was the first division. Look, when you go to standings, the AL East are the top division. That's
right.
all
it's chronological.
It is.
It's not a.
We'll do a little standings update.
Took it.
I want to talk about Clayton Kershaw. There are some rule changes that are being experimented with that we have to discuss. There's some updates from some previous storylines that we have discussed on the podcast. Some injury news, people getting breaded up, various other things. But before we start any of that, I would like to wish congratulations to Joseph. 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations, Joe. Congratulations.
That's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
500,000.
Yeah, who else you know of 500,000?
That's 500,000 more than I got. That's 250,000 more than 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Logan Paul has that. That's about it. That's it for YouTubers that I know that have that many.
I'm coming for you, Logan Paul.
Mm-hmm.
In the boxing ring, bitch.
Oh, you're going to fight him.
Oh, Joey's.
I'm fighting.
That escalated very quick.
Yeah.
I'll fight Logan Paul easily.
Oh, that was a very impulsive comment there.
Oh. Dallas, you called me last night at 1:15 in the morning?
Yeah, I did.
What's up?
I did. Nothing. I mean, it was 1:15 your time. It was 10:15 my time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was just on the way home from the ballpark. That's all.
Miss me?
Just trying to, just catching up on the nights. I'm calling a baseball game, so I don't get to watch closely, what's going on in other games, and figure maybe you might be able to just catch me up. That was all.
Yeah,
that was it.
So I decided to go to sleep after the Mariners Brewers game. So I was in bed, and my I have two TVs in my bedroom. Humble brag. I can only see one from my bed. I was in bed, and I turned on my TV, and the channel that happened to be on was the Oakland A's channel. Like, I have the MLB package. Every team has their own channel. I believe the Oakland A's channel was still on because I watched the 17 walk game from bed on Friday night.
It's just another game. It's not the 17 walk game.
No, it's the 17 walk game. Just for reference of which game it was that I was watching from bed. So I turned on the Oakland A's game. Trevor May comes out of the bullpen, and it's a 0-0 ball game. And I was like, I could be watching history. I could be watching one of the 7 wins that the Oakland A's are going to have this year. There's a chance. It's 0-0. It's 0-0 right now. We've got a chance. Trevor May comes out of the bullpen, gives up 2 runs to the Cubs. And I was like, you know what? Why am I watching this game? I was like, the Braves are playing the Padres. The Brewers and Mariners are tied in extras. There is plenty of other baseball happening right now. Like, I could watch a rerun of a game that happened today that's already over that would be a better use of my time than watching the Oakland A's and the Chicago Cubs at the Coliseum in a 2-0 ball game in the 8th inning. Like, it's over. Like, what are we doing here? So I changed to the Mariners and Brewers game. It was very back and forth. Some lead exchanges and extras. Ultimately, my Milwaukee Brewers came out on top. Garrett Mitchell, hope that's not too serious. Looked like he hurt himself on a sacrifice fly throw from center field to home plate. Had to come out of the game. Mike Brasso enters the game, plays a little third base. By the way, we're going to get to the Brewers in the standings segment that we're about to do. But I shut down I shut down my baseball viewing experience after the Brew Crew got the dub. But I woke up to a missed call from Dallas, and I was like, it sounded just like that. I was like, what the hell's going on?
Like I said, I was coming over the hill. I just got out of the baseball game and, was just looking to catch up on anything else that may have happened around the baseball world. That's all. That's it. There's nothing more to it.
Yeah. Yep. So
nothing more to it.
You guys almost won, though.
At all.
You almost won. So with that in mind, why don't we do a little standings update here? Why don't we go down the standings and just take a look at what's going on around the league? Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's happening that we haven't really touched on yet. There's a lot of stuff happening throughout Major League Baseball. If you were paying attention to the Tampa Bay Rays starting out the season 13-0, excuse me, then maybe you would have thought that they're running away with the division. They're not. The Toronto Blue Jays, only 4 games back. Only 4 games back for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Minnesota Twins have now lost 3 straight. But the Cleveland Guardians, Jay Hayes' Cleveland Guardians, have also lost 3 straight. The Minnesota Twins are the only team in the AL Central with a positive run differential. That is a weak-ass division. A team that we have not shown much love to at all on this podcast. And we'll get to some injury updates in regards to this team later down the line. But regardless, they've still won 3 straight games. The first place 11-6 Texas Rangers with a plus 34 run differential. I believe that's the second best in the American League right now. It is. Can confirm. The Texas Rangers are 11-6 in first place. They've already scored 100 runs. And they have the second best run differential in the American League, currently on a 3-game winning streak. Ahead of the second place Los Angeles Angels, who've won 2 straight after not having to play the Red Sox anymore. If you're one of these fans that your team has not gotten off to a hot start, you can kind of look around the room and say, well, look at that team. Look at this team. Look at that team. The Houston Astros are 8-10 to start the year. That's not good. Seattle Mariners also 8-10. That's not good. They've lost 2 straight running into the Brew Crew. The Oakland Athletics. Did I see somewhere that they're on pace to have a run differential that's somewhere in the negative 400s? That can't be true.
Well, on the current pace, Jared, that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, okay. So I think I saw, shout out to Athletics Rants on Twitter. I think he tweeted, or she, I don't know who runs that account.
Don't say it.
Negative 486 they're on pace for.
Oh, I thought you were going to say the other one. Okay.
Why? What's the other one?
Nothing.
What's the other one? Do you see something else?
No.
What else did you see?
Nothing.
What did you see, Dallas?
Nothing. Nothing. It's probably a typo, if I'm being honest. That's why I didn't even entertain it.
I'm just going to search Athletics on pace on Twitter and see what happened. The A's are on pace to finish with a negative 684 run differential.
The
negative 684.
That's not what I was looking at. That's not it. That's fine. Yeah.
What were you looking at?
Nothing.
Man, the Athletics right now. This is a tweet from just 30 minutes ago. The Athletics are on pace to win 27 games.
I mean, stop it. We are 2 weeks into the season.
Hey, listen.
Stop.
This is just.
Well, I mean, because fucking 5 days ago, the Rays were on pace to win 162 games. Okay, fucking knock it off.
I get it.
Do you?
These are the facts, man. I'm not trying to pile on. I'm just trying to go down the line here and give the fans a little update on what's up. In the National League, the Atlanta Braves, Joe? The Atlanta Braves, the first place 14-4 Atlanta Braves have won how many straight games, Joe? 8 straight fucking games. And these games are not close.
Well,
Hitting the shit. Matt Olson last night putting the fucking nail in the coffin 3-run bomb. It was 440 feet, Dallas. 440 feet, 3-run bomb last night.
Yeah.
The 8th straight victory. Ozzie Albies also went deep in that game.
Don't forget Sean Murphy.
Oh, wow, Joe! I'm so glad you brought his name up.
He had a great night at the plate last night.
Yeah, he did.
Could you imagine being an asshole Braves fan who doesn't want Sean Murphy on your team? Could you imagine clamoring for anybody else other than Sean Murphy right now?
Yeah,
well, Sean Murphy is hitting country miles worth of fucking home runs.
Yeah.
There's people out there who would much rather have somebody else.
Well, I'm sorry I didn't jump up and down when Travis d'Arnaud got concussed, unlike you. He was like, this is great. Okay, sorry. My bad. I should have been excited for that.
I'm actually good friends with the d'Arnauds, so that's just not.
That's why it's
You play
shocking.
blitzball with them.
That's why it's shocking.
Yeah. Matt Chapman for the Toronto Blue Jays. What a breakout campaign he's been having. I don't know if you've noticed, but he's gone to a toe tap this year.
What? Yep.
Different stride, toe tap. He's fucking seeing the ball well, Dallas.
Yeah, no, hey, I tell you, Chappie seeing the ball well, Murph seeing the ball well, Ole seeing the ball well.
Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, Sean Murphy have driven in, those 3 former Oakland A's have driven in 53 runs.
Yep, 53.
The Oakland A's as a team to start the year have scored 63 runs.
All 3 of those guys are in the top 10 for position players and wins above replacement too. Including Chapman.
So that was the stat. That's what I didn't want to talk about. That's what I didn't want you to find.
Well, I've gotten some pretty nice messages from Oakland A's fans who have reached out and said, you know what? Dallas speaks for all of us. He speaks for us. He speaks with us, and he stands with us. And that's why we listen to Baseball is Dead. And some Oakland A's fans are like, hey, you know what? When you lay into Dallas and the Oakland A's, we actually support that because we want people to know how bad it is over here.
and Jared, that is why I am their martyr.
Yeah.
I will take all of the arrows for them.
You wear a crown of thorns for this organization.
And they know, like I get, you have people DM me about things anywhere from like concession items to fucking personnel moves, like roster decisions, right? Like this is all like I've got to say in absolutely all of it. Somewhere, somehow, I've got an iron in every fire that's just not, it's not true. It's not true. But I am here. I am here to support my Bay fans.
Yeah, you're doing a great job of it. Honestly. You're the guy. You're the guy.
I'll stand with them.
Yeah. The Atlanta Braves, they've played 11 games on the road this year. They've only lost one of them. But they've won 8 straight ball games. Not much else to say, really. But I mean, the New York Mets, 11-7 to start the year. Okay. Philadelphia Phillies being 7-11 to start the year with a negative 16 run differential. Not where you want to be. But my Milwaukee Brewers in a division, I don't want to say that the division was a toss-up, but there were a lot of intriguing teams in the NL Central. The Brewers being one of them. They've won 3 straight. They're in first place with a 2-game lead over both the Cubs and Dallas. The Pittsburgh Pirates, who are 11-7 to start the year. They've won 2 straight. They have a positive run differential. I want to say the last 3 times they started the season, 11-7, they won the World Series. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere.
Who'd you say?
The Pirates.
Oh, the Buccos. Oh, I was like,
yeah.
Oh, hold on. Say that again. The last 3 times they started 11-7, they won the World Series.
I think that's what I saw. Yeah,
I'm
pretty
willing
sure
to
someone
take
tweeted
all
that.
action on the Pirates winning the World Series this season from the rest of the podcast participants. Any action
I'll throw
you want to
$100
throw
on
down,
that.
I will be the house
Mhm.
on that one.
Yeah, I'll throw $100 on the Pirates winning the World Series. What are the odds right now?
Probably
Good enough to throw $100 on them.
Yes.
Yeah, Jake, look that up.
Let's see.
Give me the Pittsburgh Pirates World Series odds in the DraftKings
They're
sportsbook.
currently plus 25,000.
Yeah. Value.
Plus what?
Same as the
If you could part with
same as the
$100.
Royals and Tigers.
Oh, that's unfair. That's unfair. They should not be in the same conversation as the Royals and Tigers. The Royals are an abomination. The Tigers are very dreadful. But we'll get to the Tigers because they've been winning ball games.
How dare you?
Yeah, no. We're gonna get to the Tigers. St. Louis Cardinals, very disappointing start, 7-11. 7-11, negative 11 run differential. The D-backs. I remember when I got mocked for saying that the D-backs were going to be interesting this year because they lost like one game, like the third game of the season. They were getting trounced. Oh yeah, the D-backs are going to be interesting this year, huh? Carrabis, they're going to be interesting. Yeah, they're in first place right now. 10% through the season. That's no small slice. If I said, give me 10% of your bank account, you'd be like, what the fuck? That's a lot, right?
I mean, it's not enough for me to tell you that
come on.
You're never going to make enough. You're never going to make that. Come on. Interesting? We're
The
2
D-backs
weeks
are
in.
Are you trying to say the D-backs are not interesting? I don't think that you're qualified to say what's interesting or not.
What a take.
What a take.
Interesting. It's like, I mean, yeah, you could say that about anyone. The Oakland Athletics are very interesting this year.
Yeah, they are.
So then that lines up.
But it could be interesting for a lot of reasons.
The Oakland A's are interesting in the fact that they're an interesting talking point. They're not interesting to sit down and watch the games. Like the D-backs are interesting to sit down and watch the games.
I agree with you with that too. I'll put the D-backs in my category of teams that could surprise people this year.
Oh,
and that is a small group of teams.
Corbin Carroll is definitely exciting to watch.
Yeah,
and so his game. I mean, look, Longo. I love the fact that Longo's playing well right now. Because he is one of these guys where he's an elder statesman in the game. And speaking of the Oakland A's, okay, we don't have a ton of those guys on that roster. There's not a ton of elder statesmen that can impact the roster the way that a healthy Evan Longoria can impact this roster. So that is something that, yes, is interesting to watch about them. Unfortunately for Longo, we've seen that things at times he gets a little banged up. If he could stay healthy, or if they could figure out how to use him I don't want to say sparingly, but keep him healthy and keep him in a position to make the impact he's making in this early go here, that helps. That helps a lot. And it helps just because of the conversation that we're having around the division with the Dodgers. It's kind of the same conversation we're having around the AL West with the Astros. How the Mariners are beating the Astros. The Angels are beating the Astros. The Rangers are beating the Astros. And so the Diamondbacks might be able to become one of those teams that continually gives the Padres a good fit.
Jay, hey, do you have any D-backs thoughts?
I mean, I agree with the Corbin Carroll assessment. I think he's one of the most exciting prospects to come around in the last few years because he's the total package in terms of speed and pop, and it's materializing like very quickly upon his ascension to the major leagues. So that part I think is spot on. I don't think I disagreed with the idea that Arizona could be interesting this season, in part because I think their pitching. I think Zach Gallen is interesting. I think they have a lot of youth that's on the way as well. And then when you have, I couldn't help but pull up Evan Longoria's page when Dallas brought him up, because we've gotten to the point where like he's not available enough anymore, but he's actually remained remarkably productive over like the back half of his 30s when he's on the field. So much so that I think I've like kind of lost track of him unfairly as well, because he has a 120 OPS plus since the start of the 21 season across 625 plate appearances. And that is like legitimately helpful. Even if it's in a platoon situation, or even if it's in a part-time situation. And I just think like sometimes the start of a player's career can obscure some good stuff that they're doing on the back half. And just because Longoria was a franchise centerpiece and possibly on a Hall of Fame track for the first 7 to 8 seasons of his career, I think he's become a little bit lost in the shuffle and a little bit underappreciated down the stretch. So I appreciate that call out for sure. I just think that, the last thing I'll say, I think the NL West might be more open than we maybe anticipated. Like, I know there was talk about the Padres and Dodgers and waffling back and forth on those two, but they both look at least as vulnerable, if not more so than we anticipated. And I know they haven't had Tatis, and that will make a difference, but the Padres pitching staff, really, I think, has some concerns. But not saying the Diamondbacks are going to win the division, but they now have 4 teams projected for 80 plus wins in the division, and none of them are projected for 90. So it's tighter than it was. It's crunching. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And also, I was going to say, shout out to Nick Ahmed, who hit a ball that bounced last night. It's fucking awesome. The dude's a wizard with a glove, like a wizard with the glove. He's one of, like, honestly, if you're going to watch the Diamondbacks play baseball, get there early so you can hopefully watch Nick Ahmed go about his business in the infield. It's a fucking treat. It is a treat. It's like watching milk poured off of a mirror in slow motion, just as smooth and as buttery as, I don't know why I thought about that. Right? I don't even know what milk poured off a mirror would look like. It just fucking feels super smooth. Yeah, he's sexy over there though.
As long as we're doing like just appreciating the D-backs session here, I wonder how many people fully realize that Zach Gallen finished 5th in the Cy Young vote last year, and since the start of the 22 season has a 2.64 ERA and 208 and a third innings pitched. Like, that guy is rock solid. I mean, he's a legitimate front of the rotation guy, and I think that's one of the pieces that has been missing for the D-backs, and it looks like they have that for the.
Well, everybody that's starting ball games right now for him, outside of Mad Bum, I feel like has done a decent job. Well, Mad Bum and what, Davies? He get roughed up, Davies?
Yeah, he got hurt.
So, but yeah, I mean, like, Gallen has thrown the ball very well. Merrill Kelly has thrown the ball very well. So, I mean, yeah, it's a great start. It's a great start. I think offensively, that's why I said I love Corbin Carroll, super exciting. The way the game has transitioned and his arrival, it's like a perfect marriage. Like this is when he's supposed to be here. You know what I mean? Like, he's the perfect player for this time. Like, he wants to fucking run, let him run. He can drive the ball, fucking bang it, big dog. And just like watch the whole skill set surface and be put on display.
From a subjective.
You know what's also crazy about the D-backs is that in their starting lineup, their projected starting lineup, they only have one player over 30.
Oh.
Nuclei.
Pretty wild. And Mad Bum is actually younger than Jacob Degrom, so he could still develop.
That's crazy to think.
Develop what? A case of the sore shoulder. Yeah.
Find some things, experiment, new pitch.
Throw the sweeper, dude.
I think we're closer to Mad Bum being out of the rotation than we are him developing a new pitch or finding another gear. Yeah, it's sad.
Let the kids play, Jay.
Yeah, not gonna stand for any Mad Bum slander.
It's not slander. Yeah. He's terrible now. I do think
you're going back angry human.
No, hold on. I cut both ways. I cut both ways. I'm giving I'm about to go into a Corbin Carroll thing here for a second, and when somebody's no good
but
anymore,
not before you try to absolutely decapitate one of the greatest postseason pitchers
Ever.
in Major League
that's
history.
great. We're talking so far in the
That's
rearview
great.
mirror.
That's fine.
So far in the rearview mirror.
Dismiss the world champion. Who gives a shit?
No, I remember that as vividly as I have any baseball highlight or experience.
Do you? Well, it shows you appreciate
of my professional career. He has a 5.10 ERA since 2020. He's over.
Wow.
With Corbin
Bring up
Carroll,
old
I
shit.
do think it matters on a subjective sense, though, that he signed long term, because the Diamondbacks fan, I feel like that allows you to appreciate what's happening with him as a Diamondbacks fan in a much more comfortable setting, because you're not wondering, where is this all headed in 3 years? Is the team going to be good enough around him to just, et cetera, et cetera? Are they going to have to trade him and spin him off because he's too expensive? Like, he signed, you can get excited about what he's developing into, and you can get really excited about the team that's developing around him too. And I think that, I don't know how to quantify that, but I think it matters.
I did not, out of all the teams that we hit on in the standings update, did not expect the media's conversation to be surrounding the Arizona Diamondbacks, but I'm here for it. They deserve the love. They're in first place. The Dodgers are 9-9, and we'll get to why. We'll get to how they got to 500. Spoiler alert. It was Clayton Kershaw going 7 shut. The San Diego Padres with a very disappointing 8-11 start to the season, -11 run differential. They're in third place. They've lost 3 straight. The Giants have lost 5 straight. They're 5-11. They look dog shit. But a big update for the last place Colorado Rockies. Chris Bryant has finally hit a home run at Coors Field.
Hey, let's go.
He did it.
Let's go. Was it an oppo job?
No, he pulled it. Pull homer.
Poolside.
Yep. Congratulations to Chris Bryant.
He
On
said,
your
fuck it, I'm
first-
getting the head out.
Coors Field homer as a Colorado Rocky. Before we kind of dive deeper into all that, the baseball season is in full swing. Whether you're rooting for the home team or betting on your favorite player, DraftKings Sportsbook has got you covered for all this season's action. Right now, new customers can place a $5 pregame moneyline bet and get $150 in bonus bets if your team wins. Plus, everyone can hit one out of the park with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. Boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Join the big league action right now on DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app. Sign up with the promo code Carrabis, Carrabis. New customers can bet just $5 on any pregame money line and get $150 in bonus bets if their team wins. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook with promo code Carrabis. I would say coming off of a nice little slate of baseball last night, the story of the night has to be Clayton Kershaw, to which I totally jacked a J-Hay nug from a previous podcast and piggybacked off of it for an updated statistic this morning before we started to do the podcast, because it was fascinating to me. And when J-Hay made the point about what Kershaw has accomplished since his last Cy Young season. So Clayton Kershaw threw 7 shutout innings last night, 7 3-hit shutout innings. I believe he had 9 strikeouts to earn his 200th career win. Clayton Kershaw's last Cy Young season was in 2014. Out of the 129 pitchers with at least 100 starts since the start of the 2015 season, Clayton Kershaw is first in ERA, 2.48, first in WHIP, 0.94, and 15th in strikeouts per 9. It is north of 10 at 10.18 in 1,227 and 2/3 innings. So he hasn't won a Cy Young award in 9 years, but he's put up Cy Young numbers for the entire 9-season duration since he last won one.
How did Clayton Kershaw become the most underrated player in the
I don't
league?
know, because for whatever reason, honestly, the first tidbit is because he broke into the league so early that we think he's older than he is. So he's he's pitching in years that he's still very much capable of being a front end of the rotation guy. But in our brains, we're like, this motherfucker's 45 doing this. It's like, no, he's what, 30? He's 35? 30?
Yeah.
He might not even be that old. Clayton Kershaw. He's 35. He just turned 35 last month. He turned 35 1 month ago today. So I think the perception is that he's older than he is. And now, like, the popular thing to say is, oh, Clayton Kershaw and Jacob Degrom are the same age. And that's kind of like that's one of those things that just warps your sense of time. But yeah, I think when you look at Clayton Kershaw and the injuries and the back injuries that have kept him out for extended periods of time to the point where he needed an epidural. And I've told this story before, but like that Clayton Kershaw needing an epidural was the first time that I realized that it was used for more than just giving birth. I didn't know that.
Wow.
I didn't know that. How would I know that? The only other epidurals that I was familiar with were during the Miracle of Life, Dallas. That was it. The Miracle of Life. But now it's the Miracle of Clayton Kershaw. So he's had these back injuries. So he hasn't accumulated. That's the thing.
Not been the back injuries.
He hasn't had a ton of seasons where he has accumulated enough innings in a season to garner Cy Young votes. So when you see no Cy Young votes, you're thinking, well, he wasn't good. Well, for the amount of innings that he was able to pitch, he was great.
Right. You're getting the production in the window.
Yeah.
You're getting
But what?
His mic cut out.
Dallas's?
Yeah.
No, I can barely. I was only hearing certain things like it was popping. What I was going to say, like I think my headphones are going in and out. What I was going to say was in the window of production for Kershaw, to your point about him being injured. Yeah, there's not enough accumulation for the, like, as far as qualifying standards go, right? I think there's been some seasons where that's been the case. But I think what happened is he bursts onto the scene and never really ever started to fizzle until some injuries popped up. And he went from being this Cy Young Award winner to almost like at the same time became a guy who was dealing with injuries and couldn't win the big one. And it's like he got saddled with this whole narrative that, oh, he's injury riddled and he can't perform in the postseason. So, oh, that's great. He's an awesome regular season pitcher and cool. He can win the Cy Young, but it seems like he's just not able to figure it out in the postseason. And it seems like he's getting injured more these days, dealing with backs and elbows and whatnot. So, and I think that I don't want to say sour because I don't know that anybody's soured on Clayton Kershaw. You're an asshole if you have.
I mean, at the old place, there was an individual there who would battle me on the daily over Clayton Kershaw. And I'm not going to say that this individual is the smartest baseball mind that we've ever encountered, but he does have a platform that influences a lot of people's opinions to side with his without any sort of research. So he created this narrative that Clayton Kershaw was overrated.
Yeah, well, it's just not true.
Yeah, it's just not true.
I was trying to think about the Kershaw thing because, like, the lack of bulk innings is kind of part of the story of the second half of his career. And, like, obviously Jared touched on, when you add it all up, it's like one long Cy Young campaign. It just hasn't all been clustered together into one season. And I was trying to figure out how to quantify that a little bit. So I looked at like both WAR and innings pitched through their age 35 season among all pitchers to debut in the divisional era. So since 1969. And he's sixth in WAR through age 35, but only 41st in innings pitched. So, like, I think that shed some light on like the incredible level of dominance that you're getting out of him, because not only is that a product of the modern game, right, where people are going 7, 8, 9 innings less frequently than they used to, but it's also a product of the fact that, you know, he's been throwing 120 innings per season for the last 4 or 5 years. But like, just on a pure quality basis, we've really never, with the possible exception of Pedro, I'm not sure that we've ever seen anything quite like this in baseball history, and it should still be appreciated.
The last 4 years, Jay, or really the last 3 years, are the only years where like the injuries and the, you know, overall lack of total body of work has really taken a drop. Because up until 2020, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the dude had thrown less than 150 innings.
Yeah, he threw 140. He threw 149 in 2016, but that was
motherfucker.
Yeah, but also that was the year he had a 1.69 ERA in 21 starts. So we'll round up. We'll round up.
Thank you.
And even the 2020 season, like I have to mentally remind myself, 10 starts and 58 innings. That was the full season, basically. So it really is just 21 and 22 where he hasn't delivered what most would consider like a full season's worth of work. And that's not, he was.
Yeah. Or like, I mean, go look at Baseball Reference and see what was what would you say? The 100, he had a 1.69 ERA.
Yeah. In 2016, he finished 5th in the Cy Young despite only throwing 149 innings because he had a 1.69 ERA and 3 shutouts.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. That was the year he had 172 strikeouts and 11 walks. He had a 15.64 strikeout to walk ratio.
So stupid. Just so stupid.
His best in any other season is 7.75.
That's silly. What year did he strike out?
301.
300.
It was the year before that, 2015.
Okay. And he also had like 240 innings too.
Yeah, 230. Led baseball in innings pitched. Led the NL in starts. Led baseball in strikeouts. Led baseball in FIP. Finished 3rd in the Cy Young somehow. Oh, was that was that Arrieta Greinke? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Arrieta's
15.
ridiculous second half.
Yeah.
You're just throwing a no-hitter like every other start.
Yeah.
That was wild. But yeah, Clayton Kershaw, he has just been a tree in the breeze. He's overrated, he's underrated, now he's overrated, he's underrated. It's when it's all said and done, he will be properly rated as the best pitcher of this generation.
Yeah. I mean him and Verlander are going to be, I think that's going to be ballied about and bantered about.
Because Verlander will have the innings.
Well, you know what? I think that is a great barbershop conversation.
Have we removed Scherzer from that conversation? Because I remember having that on previous starting nines where it was like those 3 guys are going to be like, because I remember growing up and when I really got into stats, like in my head debating the Pedro, Maddox, Clemens unit grouping and being like, whose career would I have rather had? Whose peak would I have rather had? And like, I don't know, maybe the answer ultimately is Kershaw with this generation, but I do think I think that is a perfect barbershop baseball conversation in 10, 15 years. Whose peak would you have rather had? Whose career? Because then you get into the hardware too and World Series success and like they've all had complicated postseason legacies. It's fascinating.
I don't think that anyone would pick Kershaw for whose career would you rather have.
You don't think so?
If you pick Verlander, you're getting multiple titles. You're getting probably more money, right? I would venture to guess. Like career earnings without looking, Verlander probably clears.
Hold on.
Maybe Scherzer, because he had that big one.
Early. He was the first jumbo.
Looks like,
and then he started getting the fatty 1 years.
I'll use just reference as the source, but Kershaw has 294.
career earnings.
Yeah, Scherzer's at 307. Verlander is at 360.
And I don't believe
360.
Yeah.
And I don't believe those are factoring in any sort of postseason bonuses either.
Or the Skechers deal. It was a lot of money.
Who was with Skechers?
Kershaw.
Was he really?
He wears Skechers every time he pitches. You never know that? Skechers.
No. No, I did not know that.
If Jared doesn't know, it doesn't
deal
sound
is
like
not working.
Skechers is getting its money's worth.
No.
I mean, dude, the day he rolled those out, I thought it like I legitimately thought it was a fucking SNL commercial. Like I thought this was a fucking joke, but no, your boy is absolutely slanging Skechers.
What year did he start wearing Skechers?
This is like 5 years ago, dude.
For real?
Yeah.
Skechers has like the Kershaw.
Buddy, he wears Skechers cleats.
Yeah, I know he wears Skechers cleats, but is there like a Skechers Clayton Kershaw?
Yeah.
sneaker?
No. He's just like endorsing Skechers.
He's the
Trust
only
me.
one with Skechers cleats on Earth.
Yeah, if there was
On
a
Earth.
if there was a Clayton Kershaw fucking Skecher, buddy, I'd be wearing it. I might make that. I might make the Clayton Kershaw Skecher my everyday shoe.
Yeah.
That might be the view from the office go to every day.
Oh, my dad would be pumped. He fucking loves Skechers. That dude stays rocking Skechers.
I mean, but honestly,
I would wear them.
why the hate though? You know what I mean? Like
For
if he's like,
Skechers?
dude, have you put your feet in these? Could you imagine walking around on these like with spikes? Well, that's what I'm doing. So
There should be zero hate in that, because that is something that very few people can say. People like that are like Shohei. Shohei has a New Balance glove. Like, you can't buy a New Balance glove. They just paid him $1 trillion and was like, here, we made this glove for you.
Hey,
like, that's rare to get that type of deal.
Joe, I may or may not have a little inside track to what the New Balance approach is going to be with Shohei. I mean, I might be brushing my teeth with a fucking New Balance toothbrush. I might be using Shohei New Balance toothpaste. Like there will be no stone left unturned. No stone.
Tastes just like Shohei.
Speaking of stones, they might be slinging fucking New Balance rocks. Like they like pet rocks. They will. I cannot wait. We got to wait a little while. It's gonna be a little while for the shoe. Gonna be a little while.
They gotta like, come on, figure it out. Like the amount of people that have been clamoring for marketable baseball sneakers. Like I was in the Square One Mall in Saugus, Massachusetts last weekend because I was buying my mom her first pair of Nikes.
Her first pair?
And yeah, she's never like, I wanted her to get like Jordan 1s. Like we got her like actual like 6 sneakers. Like she's probably had like Nike running shoes before, but I was like, no. Like we're gonna get you like some ones.
I'm gonna give her some customs.
Yeah. And I was in there and I was like, I'm pretty sure this is the Griffey, but it could be the Kobe. I don't know. So like the fact that I have to like pull this off the rack and be like, is this the Kobe or the Griffey? Like, oh, that's the Griffey. And I was like, oh, okay. Like there should be more. I guess it shouldn't have to be a question.
No, we've had this conversation. The Griffey is to the baseball shoe or the baseball shoe lineage as to what the Jordan is, right? What the Jordan brand is in baseball. So the Griffey, like how the J1s, everybody's got a custom J1, all the different colorways, blah blah blah. That's what the Griffey is. It's like the base baseball shoe. And they've got different colorways, different collabs. They've got the LeBron Griffey collab. I mean, they've got all kind of different shit going on.
Yeah, we just need more. Like the Soto. That would be sick to just have baseball players having their own sneakers that didn't look. I don't know. Like I
honestly don't know why it's not a bigger thing and why people have. Dude, they wear them every day. Okay. And basketball players wear their shoes every day they play basketball, but they're not on TV every day.
Right.
These guys are on TV every day. Their shoes on TV every day, especially as a pitcher. Like if you're a top of the line frontline guy, the reason the glove deal gets you paid is because
right in front of your
where's
face.
that camera? Every fucking pitch is on you, your glove right there. You are a billboard. So if you've got a guy like Kershaw, frontline dude, like they missed the boat on just pumping this dude's tires. But they absolutely should be thinking about this. In the box, every time Juan Soto does the shuffle, what are you watching? His feet move, and then
he's complaining about that. Did you see that? He's like, with the pitch clock,
region,
I can't do the shuffle anymore.
What?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of talk about whether or not the pitch clock is like really fucking with Juan Soto.
Yeah, because he's not doing well right now.
No.
He's like, that's part of my mental game.
Yeah, well, part of this game is changing and adjusting.
Yeah. I find it hard to believe that he can't do the Soto shuffle anymore. Did you really say that?
I think he has said that like the pitch clock has interfered with like his mental part of the game.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. But like the shuffle, I mean, by the time you're done with the shuffle, the pitcher does not have the ball. Like if you're,
I guess,
maybe when he used to the dick grab.
Well, no, it's because you do he's got to do the shuffle, right? And then it's the step out after, and then he's got to come out and he resets. And these umpires, especially in the games that I'm watching, they are not here for whoop, whoop, come on, let's go. Get it going. That clock is moving.
Yeah.
Something's going on with him, though, right?
A good start. Yeah.
So I'm like, how long
pulling it up right now?
I mean, maybe we should never expect another 2020 in part because it was a snapshot of what a full season would have looked like. But I mean, he's headed in the wrong direction. It's just like,
what, Jay, hey, I was going to ask you quickly to look at like O swing, O contact, and Z swing. So what do you got?
So his zone swing has precipitously dropped. He's gone from in 2019 and 2020 and 21, he was north of 60%. It was 56% last year and is below 53% this year. So he's being
aggression
passive,
going away,
passive on balls in the zone. His zone contact rate, for that matter, has dropped, not at the same level, but has dropped.
But still dropped.
His chase rate has increased. Interestingly enough, from where it was in 21, it's basically back to where it was in 19 and 20. So it's not terrible. And his whiff rate currently this season is higher than it has been at any point in his career. And his first pitch swing rate is at its lowest point in his career. So like, it just like
that. Well, you're watching. Yeah. You're seeing a guy who's in between right now. He is in between approaches. He doesn't know what his best move is right now.
It's crazy because he still leads Major League Baseball in walks, and his on-base percentage is .366 despite a 175 batting average. So like there are core,
but that's
no. I'm just going to say there are core elements of Juan Soto that are still intact, but it's not coming with like when the bat hits the ball, it's not coming with the same authority that it used to. Average exit velocity is down 2.8 miles an hour from 21. So
right, Jay, it's all like I said, it's a lack of aggression. That's why I instantly, when we see guys slump like that, that's why I told you to go there to the O swing, Z swing. Like those are the things that you can identify quickly, man, very quickly. And we just did the lack of aggression. And I've always felt like you mentioned the walks, but the free passes, in my humble opinion, are essentially a byproduct of the lack of aggression. And the end result is if I'm not swinging at the pitch, which I'm not doing much these days, and if I'm not hitting it hard, which I'm not doing much these days, when I do decide to swing at it, which is all declined, if I take it, I could walk. That's working out because he does have a good eye. He's got an incredible feel for the zone, but that is what is driving this man instead of him actually driving the baseball and him going up there. It's almost like he's taking at bats and he's trying to survive the at bat as opposed to going up and looking to fucking hurt somebody's feelings.
And not to say this is exactly what's happening with Juan Soto, but I feel like you see this sometimes at the end of players' careers. You get like a 1 season or partial season on base percentage bump because they do turn into, I'm going to try and grind out the walk here, or I'm going to do everything I can to work deep into this counter to get on base, as opposed, because I know I can't hit the ball as hard. And then you see the next year it all comes apart, and obviously Juan Soto's way too young for all that. But
let's keep our glass half full and say that when you plug in Tatis Jr., maybe that allows Juan Soto an opportunity to reset, because there's no doubt that the attention will shift and the focus will be on Tatis and how's he doing? What's it look like? Crush it at AAA. Can you come up and make an impact? And maybe that alleviates some pressure for Juan Soto and lets him sort of, I don't know, get back to trying to fucking hurt somebody.
Also, I'm watching a decent amount of Padres baseball, but even through his struggles, it doesn't appear to me that he's lost his confidence. And I don't know if that means that he is working on it and he's going to figure it out, or he knows what the issue is and he's working at it. It doesn't seem to me like he's lost his confidence. Like even like that, like maybe you saw too, Joe, like the at bat against Max Fried the other day when he just dropped a disgusting curveball on him and like he just like smiled. He was like, yeah, that was nasty. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? It's not, he doesn't seem lost.
I don't think, he's always been that way. I mean, at like 20 years old, grabbing his nuts and playing in Verlander's face in the World Series. This is not the type of guy who's not going to like be, the beast. But he's still doing the shuffle. He's still, doing the freaking smiles and saying, "Oh, good pitch," and shit. Like,
well, do you think he's going to live to regret that? Let's not discount that Juan Soto and Scott Boras turned down $440 million.
Well, did you see what he said about that?
What?
He said something about like that wasn't really ever an offer. They stopped talking, that the Nationals leaked it to make it look like it was.
I believe that.
With that being said, I'm sure it was close to that if it wasn't there. He still turned down a shit ton.
Knowing the Nats, it probably included $398 million in deferred money out to like
deferred
78. Yeah.
No trade clause.
You get $2 up front. You get a McDonald's kids meal up front. Everything else is deferred until you're 90 years old.
Boys and girls, I do have to go.
Yes.
I would like to put you on notice though. If you are going to watch a baseball game today, if you want just a small glimpse into what the future could hold, not only in the game of baseball, not only specifically on the mound in our great game of baseball, but in the town, Oaktown, on the bump today, is a fireballing, fuck you attitude having Mason Miller ready to shove 100-mile-an-hour fastballs directly up the ass of the Chicago Cubs. Day one of a long, storied career in the Grandes for my man Mason Miller. Tune in. You won't want to miss it.
Let's go.
I'm gone.
Yo, shout out to Mason Miller, though, to be fair. 19 strikeouts and 0 walks in 8 2/3 innings this year.
That's right. That's right.
And 2 hits.
Come fucking
That's
get you some.
Wild, actually. And both those hits were homers.
Come fucking get you some.
This actually could be quite interesting. Only 2 hits allowed in 8 2/3. They were both homers. He's walked nobody and he struck out 19. I'm tuning in.
And he throws 100. It's fucking real. Here it comes, bitch.
A's probably didn't even look at his ERA, didn't look at strikeouts, saw 0 walks, and we're like,
Joe,
you're coming up.
Why are you getting caught up in the numbers, bro? Why are you getting caught up in the numbers?
Because I'd never seen the guy in my life. Maybe that's why.
Look, real baseball guys know. No, real baseball guys know eventually you got to get over the numbers and you just got to play.
He could be a literal alien. I would never know. I've never seen the guy. All I have is numbers.
Numbers don't mean anything in baseball. I'm out.
Bye, Dallas. Hopefully Dallas is throwing on some Indochino before he gets on that bus or whatever the hell he's doing.
I think he is. He just texted me. He said he was.
He was?
Mm-hmm.
Looking sharp all wedding season long should not be expensive. With a custom-fitted suit from Indochino, you'll create priceless memories without costing a fortune. Customize every detail on your suit, shirt, dinner jacket, and more in a range of colors, from a traditional black or gray to burgundy or olive to a classic Hemsworth navy. I love that. I'm actually more of an olive guy. My Indochino, I went with the olive Indochino pants. I've been wearing them for not just, I mean, I don't really get invited to weddings because people know that I just won't come. But anytime I have to look nice and fancy, we rock the Indochino pants. They're very comfortable, by the way. We got to get Joe some. Let's get Joe suited up with some Indochino for the All-Star game this year in Seattle.
Yeah, please.
Because every suit is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every single detail. Create a suit that fits you and your style perfectly with options for fabrics, lapel shape, custom monograms, statement linings, and more. They also have tuxedos starting at $579. Why rent when you could buy a custom tux that you can rewear for years to come? Indochino also offers completely custom fitted shirts, casual wear, and more. Get a superior wardrobe personalized to your style and taste without the luxury price tag. They're always adding new pieces and options so you can stay on trend and in style. Explore their relaxed yet refined approach to spring suits with their new spring fabrics. RSVP, knowing that you've got the perfect look all wedding season long from Indochino. Go to Indochino.com, use the promo code DEAD, and get 10% off any purchase of $399 or more. That is Indochino.com, promo code DEAD. I hate weddings. I have like a couple coming up, and I'm just like, can you guys just like fucking break up? Like, I don't, you're just like the Yankees are in town for one wedding that I have. And I'm like, dude, you don't even like this girl. Like, I'm trying to like talk him out of the idea of getting married. And I'm like, bro, first of all, how selfish do you have to be? Like, the past 3 weddings that I've been invited to, not including this Yankee one, when I was in Seattle, my cousin got married during the Seattle Mariners lone playoff game. And I was like, listen, you asked me straight up, will I be available if you get married in October? And I said, I cannot make you that promise. You chose the October wedding date. One of my best friends from home, summer of 2021. He was like, hey, if I have my wedding in October, do you think you can make it? I was like, probably not. But I did make that one because I think it was like an off day in between like World Series games. And then another one was like, hey, I'm getting married. If I invite you to my wedding, it's in Spain. Will you come? And I was like, absolutely not. But tell me where I can send the wedding gift. Happy to do that. Jay Hay got married, and it was the perfect set of circumstances because Jay Hay is, as you know, a baseball savant geek nerd that had nothing or mostly baseball people at his wedding. So no one was looking at me thinking I'm a rude individual for watching a baseball game at his wedding. I had the game on my cell phone, but I was sitting at a table with like Carl Ravitch and Tim Kirchin. So I was like, these people are certainly not looking at me being like, what the fuck is this guy doing watching a baseball game at his friend's wedding? I digress. Indochino.com, promo code TED. Woo! 10% off. Got to look good at those weddings that you're definitely going to go to this summer. Some of the main stories that have happened since we last got together. I know Jay Hay commented on this. I saw the tweet. I'd send out a tweet at like 1 a.m. last night. Joe, I don't know if you have anything you want to add to this too as well. Evan Drellick, my arch nemesis of The Athletic, tweeted out, Rob Manfred this evening said that he and owners are interested in limiting the length of MLB player contracts. Tony Clark responded, quote, anyone who believes that players would ever endorse an assault by management on guaranteed contracts is badly mistaken. So right off the bat, take your labor piece and shove it up your ass, bitch. It just seems to me it's a weird thing when you have owners that created an issue that they're now trying to combat. The longer contracts, like I broke it down from all three angles, right? You have the player angle, you have the fan angle, you have the owner angle. The fans, we don't want our favorite teams signing players until they're 42. Owners, they're the ones that started signing these players to the longer deals, because if you can get a guy on an 11-year deal, then guess what? That brings down the average annual value. You can be paid, $30 million in a season, but it's the average annual value of the contract that counts against the luxury tax. It's not what you're getting paid that year. It's the AAV for the whole deal. So owners are like, hey, we'll give you more years to bring down the AAV. If you're a player, fuck yeah, I want more job security. Yeah, give me all the guaranteed contract that you can give me. Give me the guaranteed money. Give me the guaranteed years. Fuck yeah, sign me up. So for owners to be the ones to be like, hey, we got to cut the shit with these long-term, we got to put a limit on these long-term contracts. It's like, bitch, you fucking started it. What are you talking about that we have to limit these? And it just makes you ask the question, who is the individual that said we need to put an end to this? Like, who's the first person that stood up and said, hey, we need to limit these long contracts? And someone else stood up and said, yeah, let's do it. There has to be other people in the room being like, we kind of started this. Like, obviously players are not going to push back on it. Be like, no, please stop giving me 11-year contracts and $280 million. Players aren't going to have an issue with that. So I ask you, Jay Hay, where did this start from? Who is the first person that said we need to put an end to this? Was it Rob Manfred, or was it an owner or owners in his ear saying, hey, can we cut the shit with the whole 11-year deals stuff?
I'm sure it was ownership, a group of, the smaller ownership groups in the league. Rob Manfred himself. I'm always reminded in moments like this that there's an element of this where Rob Manfred cannot help himself. We have to remember that this is a guy who made his bones coming up in Major League Baseball as basically their labor lawyer. And in that position, this is a guy who was constantly battling the Players Association in CBA and contract disputes. And I don't think that's ever really left the perspective that he brings in his position, which is, by definition, a representative of ownership interests. And I think he takes that very seriously. I think that is his primary passion and motivation as it relates to this job. And to me, it's like it's almost like a too obvious bait and switch, where you're like, yes, we'll give you longer contracts at lower average annual values, and then now that this has become the norm, we want the contracts to be shorter too. And he had a quote in the article that I found particularly illuminating, which was, essentially, I'm paraphrasing, that at some point these long contracts transfer money from older stars to present day stars. Essentially, that these long-term contracts to guys who are going to be 38, 39 years old, making $28, $32 million are going to cost the current stars at that point their ability to make the money that they want, which is like so cravenly cynical in the sense that, like, you're not hearing about any reform as it relates to the arbitration system so that those young players can get more money out of the other side of his mouth. So it's just like, I just don't really understand why this needs to be a talking point right now, when I think the sentiment around Major League Baseball is as positive as it's ever been from the casual fan. And to constantly have these things come up, like, it's just, I know he's asked questions. It was in response to a question. He didn't just start going off on this topic without any sort of impetus. But I just don't understand why it constantly has to be brought to the forefront, and why baseball can't get out of its own way with these rain cloud topics when things are going really well. It's disappointing.
Joseph?
I agree. I never have any nuanced thought on these labor disputes and stuff. It seems it's very complicated. They're fighting over money. Who's going to make the money? There's a shit ton of money. Who's going to get it? It's a tug and pull, nonstop, constant. It'll work itself out in the end.
Yeah, I just thought that it was a little ironic in a way that it seems like the owners are complaining about a problem that they created to try to piss off the players. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And if we're going to, like, I know this is not exactly what we're talking about, but like, you look at the teams that are generating the lowest attendance on a game by game basis, or the teams that have just a flagging amount of fan interest. And then you look at what the Padres are doing in terms of, like, I know they're not winning on the field yet, but the level of interest that they've generated, it's almost been so enthusiastic that we've come to mock it at times on this podcast, like tongue in cheek, where it's like, are they going a little overboard in their excitement for this team at this point? I don't care. I don't care about that part, but like, investing in the team in whatever form that takes generates excitement, which generates fan interest, which generates people coming to your park or investing in your product or buying your merchandise. And like, I'm just not really, I'm fundamentally not interested in hearing about policy or perspectives that are ultimately about ensuring that the 50% of the teams in this league that really don't want to field competitive teams and spend at 2023 Major League Baseball prices don't have to do that. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear, if it's really about the Reds not having to spend $75 million to field a payroll ever, then that's not a talking point that I'm interested in as a fan of the game, period. And that's what I think this is about.
Yeah. At least with the Reds situation, they're like somewhat in a position to justify not spending because their young pitching is so good where they can come out and say, we have guys in place. You can see the vision. We're going to be good. And when we determine that these guys are ready, we can then supplement that with talent from either free agency or a trade or whatever. But then you have organizations like the Oakland A's that are just flat out telling you, we do not give a fuck.
Well, that's a parody of a different
There's
level.
no vision.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the Major League comparison is, I didn't think there'd ever be a real Major League team that so accurately reflected that movie. And while I'm not there on a day-to-day, it certainly sounds like we're getting close to that.
Yeah. And that's what A's fans have said to me. Like, the comparison to Major League has been drawn multiple times from A's fans being like, we are living a real life Major League in Oakland here. But anyways, the other things that came out, some made no fucking sense. Some I can at least digest a little bit. MLB is testing a designated pinch runner in the Atlantic League that can be subbed in and out of the game at any time. So new to the Atlantic League this season, will be used a designated pinch runner. Each club will list a player who is not otherwise in the starting lineup as a designated pinch runner. The player may then be substituted at any point into the game as a base runner. The player who is substituted for, well as the pinch runner, may then return to the game without penalty. Do we like this?
I mean, I'm probably not. I think they got the steals up to a good level already. This is just going to make steals go fucking crazy. If you can pinch run any hitter whenever you want, and they could just come back in the game, you'll just have Terrence Gore on the bases once every inning.
Now you're kind of like creating a whole new position, essentially, right?
Yeah,
like guys are going to become big leaguers that aren't necessarily big league baseball players. You're just a fast runner. Like there might be teams like the Tampa Bay Rays might be a team that sits there and says, this guy can't fucking hit. He can't pitch. He can't field, but he can run. And that's worth a roster spot to us because we're creating chaos on the base pass. We're able to steal more bases. We're able to go first to third better than anybody. Like, you've just got track stars that are now big league baseball players. And to your point, I agree. Like, we've already seen a huge uptick in stolen bases with guys that are just baseball players. But now you're going to be creating a position where this guy is just a track star. He's not a baseball player. He's not, I don't know. Like, that just, yeah. Some teams, if not multiple teams, will look at that rule and say, we are putting a spot on our roster that is just designated for the guy that can run fast.
I think every team would, because it's like every inning you get the fastest player in your team on the bases. Like, that's got to increase your runs by a shit ton, like more than just a guy on the bench who hits a few times a week, you know?
Yeah.
I think every team would have Billy Hamilton just fast as fuck, stealing 1,000 bags a year.
Yeah. But Billy Hamilton can like play defense. Like,
yeah.
You would create an opportunity for someone who has never played baseball in their lives to become a big leaguer. It's like, oh, this guy he broke the record for like fastest sprint speed. Now he's in the big leagues because that's a position now. What do you think, Jay?
I think I've been very supportive and vocally supportive of the rule changes. I think you've lost me on this one.
They're bored. That's what I said. They're bored. I said that they got high off of the positive reaction from the bigger bases, banning the shift, and the pitch clock. And they were like, we are fucking brainiacs, man. We can create any rule, and these fans are going to eat that shit up.
To push back on that, they've been doing this shit for years in the Atlantic League. They pushed the mound back an entire foot like last year. They just do random shit all the time.
And I think that's great.
Yeah. Like, and they never work. I don't know if they work or not, but most of them don't ever become actual rules.
I mean, they basically took over the Atlantic League for the purpose of creating an experimental, like a real life testing zone. I mean, that's what the Atlantic League is. That was the whole purpose of the move. And to be honest, like, I'm not personally impacted by any Atlantic League move, so maybe it's more complicated than this, but I like it. Like, I think it's smart. I think it's great to test that stuff out in a real environment where you can get a sense of, will this work at the major league level? And I think it's not a coincidence that, you know, they have a pipeline of testing that goes from, you know, not directly from, but is done in the Atlantic League, is done in minor league baseball, and more broadly, and is done at the major league level if it's successful. And I think that's related to why the rollout this season has been so smooth.
That must be so frustrating if you're a player in the Atlantic League,
yes,
who is still trying to make it to the big leagues, and it's like, I'm a fucking test rat, and I'm trying to play in Major League Baseball, but I don't get to play by the same rules as Major League Baseball. And I'm now playing in a league where they've moved the mound back a whole foot. So my ERA is not reflective to what it might be if I played in Major League Baseball, because I'm playing a completely different game because, again, I'm in the test rat league.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that moving the mound back made like averages in offense go down, I think. But it's a great point. Like, if you're one of those guys, like you're a guy who's like a Billy Hamilton, like, I want to like prove I can hit and I can steal, but it's like, now, no, you can't hit. You're not going to be in the field. You're just running for this independent league, getting paid no money. And now you have no chance to prove yourself. You're just stealing every fucking inning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The other rule change, and this is so fucking stupid. MLB is also experimenting with a double hook DH rule in the Atlantic League, where a team loses its DH if the starting pitcher fails to complete at least 5 innings. That's fucking stupid. Hey, our biggest star that we've had since like Derek Jeter and Ken Griffey Jr. and all these guys, the biggest, most marketable star that we have had in our game, it's because he's a two-way player, but when he's not pitching, he's a DH. How do we fuck that up? Like, how do we do something that could limit the exposure that he gets to the fans that clearly are paying tickets to go see him? I'm gonna do a little research right now. So these are all starters. Players with at least one start this year. Okay. So this season, amongst all the pitchers with at least one start, the average innings pitched per game is exactly 5 innings. So more often than not, you would just lose your DH under this new rule.
Or they have this rule and that goes up like an inning and a half. Everyone's happy. Starters are going longer. Well, we don't have Blake Snell getting taken out in the World Series. Which
Phil Nevin is just leaving Reed Detmers out there to get his fucking shit handed to him just so that he doesn't lose Shohei Ohtani as his DH.
Yeah, this one seems like, I guess the point in this is to like, if you take out your starter, then you got a reliever, then you're switching relievers, and it's like a lot of pitching changes. But that's kind of this like a time of play issue. Like that's going to make games longer. But we've kind of already fixed that with these new rules.
Yeah.
So it seems like they've made these new, like they're planning to do this, not knowing how the pitch clock was going to work. So now they're just going to do them anyway. Because like these problems seem like they've all already been solved, at least in the meantime. So these rules didn't kind of seem pointless, like dramatic changes for something that's kind of already fixed.
Yeah. Jay, hey, what do you think about this stupid ass rule?
Nothing to add. Stupid ass rule.
I think Jay Hay's gonna like the last one though.
What is the last one? I only saw those two.
The last one is, it's just instead of 3 disengagements, you get 2. So you can do 1 pickoff. If you pick off again, don't get him. He gets to go to the next base.
So disengagement is not just a pickoff throw. It's like you could like step off and like fake to first. That's a disengagement.
Yeah. And just restart. I mean, people do that all the time. They just step off to restart the clock. Now you can only do that once.
I don't know that I hate that.
I'd like to.
Yeah,
I'd like to get a sense of how this feels a little bit more before we tighten it up even further. But
I tweeted it the other day. I was like, to my knowledge, I have not seen someone get granted second base because of too many failed pickoff attempts, but I guess it happened with the Phillies.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think Darvish, didn't he or somebody stepped off, forgot they stepped off? Like they didn't try to pick off, they just stepped off to reset the clock and didn't realize it. So then they picked off twice and wasn't aware. So the runner got to advance. But yeah, you're right. It's rare as fuck, but I still think that affects base stealing a lot.
Of course.
Just because people are less likely to throw over.
Yeah. Also stupid. Baseball season's in full swing. Oh wow, we got a new read. This is amazing. Baseball season is in full swing, and there are games all day, every day. And when I'm watching all the games and recording all these podcasts every week, it can be tough to get a handle on it all. But thanks to Xfinity 10G network, I can stay on top of everything. With Xfinity 10G, you can power an entire house full of devices with ultra low lag, so you and everyone you know can stream every single game at the same time and never miss a pitch. And if you're on the go, Xfinity has your back with millions of Wi-Fi hotspots. Introducing the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Learn more at Xfinity 10G, Xfinity.com/10G. That's pretty much it. I mean, a couple of news and notes before we got to get out of here. The Detroit Tigers have won 5 straight games, 3 straight walk-offs, and Javi Baez, since getting benched, is hitting .375 with a .921 OPS. That's just AJ Hinch magic right there.
Yeah, he saved the season. They're back, baby.
The Tigers are back.
Let's go. There were 7 people at the games yesterday, but I said the next game at home, probably double that because they are back.
I got skewered by Tigers fans for pointing out that there were quite literally 17 people at the game. And they were like, you fucking idiot. It's a fucking Tuesday day game. Make up for a rain out. And it's 32 degrees out. Of course there's no one at the game. And I'm like, buddy, you still have you're in the bottom third in attendance. Like, it's not like you guys are normally banging out Comerica, and this set of circumstances created an outlier for attendance this year. Like, just own it. Why are you getting mad at me? Your team sucks, and you're mad at me because your attendance was embarrassingly low. Embarrassingly lower than the low that it normally is.
I'm not going to defend them, that they are mad at themselves and their team and not you. But I have like the opposite perspective. I am always surprised when I tune in for like a Tuesday early afternoon, like shitty late April weather sort of game. Like, I'm like, wow, they found 3,500 people in this area to go to this game. Like on Tuesday, April 14th or whatever, like 10,000 people in the metro area decided they were going to go to the Tigers afternoon, or like whatever team. I'm always like, wow. Like, I'm always impressed. This idea that teams are going to sell out, like the Red Sox sellout streak or Cleveland sellout streak back in the 90s, like that is years long of people showing up to every home game that you have, is mind numbing to me. Doesn't even make sense.
No, it was, I get it. Like you're tired. It's not like losing certainly is not something new that's happening in Detroit. I think they're tired of losing. I think the writing has been on the wall. I think it was you, Jay Hay, maybe that pointed out that the only reason why they spent big in years past was because their owner was about to die and he just wanted to see one before he died. Like, it's not some market that's known for big spending. It was a special set of circumstances that maybe created a false sense of, I don't want to say entitlement, but expectation more so.
Yeah, and listen, like, Detroit's not the only instance of that in baseball history. If you go back and look at what Cleveland was spending relative to the league in the 90s when they were dominant, they were routinely in the top 10, top 5 in payroll. And that is literally never happening again. Like that is just a completely foreign, it's like a different sport for the franchise than it is right now. And like, there are a lot of similarities between Cleveland and Detroit that aren't necessary for this podcast, but like, that's there. It's not a phenomenon that's unique to them. It's just the specifics of why it happened are unique to them.
Yeah. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I liked Cleveland, the city. Cleveland, the city gets a lot of shit. I enjoy, I've been there twice and I've enjoyed myself both times that I've been in Cleveland. It was really that YouTube video, that YouTube tourism video about Cleveland created this narrative that it is like just the absolute dump, and I liked it.
I would recommend anybody who's going to Cleveland to go ahead and visit Virginia Havens Park, across from Judson Manor. Nice little place to take your family, sit down, read, have a coffee, check it out.
Is that like a family business?
No, Virginia Havens Park. It's just a park named after my grandmother.
Oh.
There's no business at all. Like that's the end of the business. She's passed away, in fact, so it's very seriously the end of all that business. But there is a park named after her, so check it out if you're ever in Cleveland.
Next time I go to Cleveland, that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to FaceTime you all.
Please do. That would be awesome.
I will do that. The Jacob Degrom injury. They're calling it a wrist. They're calling it precautionary. It is what it is. I don't have too much to add to that other than no one is shocked. We're all skeptical and we'll see what happens. That's about as much as there needs to be said about the Jacob Degrom injury.
Does that ever, who hurts their wrist while pitching? Did he fall?
I don't know. But Jay, hey, you got to get out of here. I don't want to keep you.
I mean, I can stick around for a few more minutes if we're close.
All right. Yeah. Okay. We're close. Yeah, we got Jeffrey Springs, Tommy John. You want to feel bad, but you don't, because he's done and said some problematic things. Also, that doesn't mean that you wish injury on anyone, but you don't necessarily feel bad. And then you also don't necessarily feel bad for the Tampa Bay Rays, because it is just an embarrassment of riches as it pertains to their pitching staff. It's like, they'll be okay. They'll be just fine.
Yeah, I'm just going to look up what he said. So that's when I've never.
I think he was one of the guys that refused to wear like the Pride Night patch.
Oh.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. That's why he's hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. God loves the gays. And he found that out real quick. TJ for him, looking at about a year and a half. Pretty standard. So Tampa will be fine. I mean, you have Tyler Glasnow coming down the pipe. Yeah, next man up. Oh, it's a dude that blows 99 with a devastating curveball. What's his third pitch? Was he working on a changeup? Am I wrong about that? I mean, he was basically 2-pitch pitcher. He would like kind of sprinkle in a changeup, maybe. But what does Baseball Savant have listed as Tyler Glasnow's pitches? Like the pitch usage must be like, I mean, whatever his third pitch is, it's got to be 5% or less.
Let's see. It is. They currently had him at, it looks like they have the slider and curve, obviously, is two different pitches. So it's fastball 53, slider 28, curve 18.
Okay.
That was over a very brief period in 22, obviously. It's not much different than it was in 21. In 21, they also had him throwing a changeup 2.5% of the time.
Yeah.
That looked like it was tabled in 22.
Do I know my guy or do I know my guy? Shit. Fucking 2.5% usage. We're going to get that usage up. I'm very, like, that is something that I'm going to keep a very close eye on when Tyler Glasnow returns is the pitch repertoire and the percent usage of these pitches. Because, I mean, goddamn, we are not going to be north of 50% fastball usage. We just can't happen. Can't happen. And then finally, Hunter Greene. If Dallas were here, he would probably say something like, "Burn it up, chicken titties. You kidding me, brother? This guy blows hundo biscuits. He's blowing cheddar balls down. He throws 105 miles an hour, brother. You kidding me, dog? Hunter Greene, brother, finally rewarded for all the talent he got there, brother. Burn it up. Chicken titties. Keeping that core together in Cincinnati. Wish they did that in Oakland. They ain't never gonna do that, brother. But Hunter Greene, congratulations to the kid. Wish he was a lefty. Throwing hundo cheddar biscuits, but he's right-handed. We love Hunter Greene. Burn it up. So that pretty much covers it.
And he's hurt.
Yeah.
But not on the IL yet, I don't think so.
No.
Maybe he's not hurt, but he had to leave. He had to leave to sign a contract. But they just took him out to sign a contract, dude. We just got a call from your agent. He's down. Dude, not change your mind. We can't give him an extra second to change his mind.
Yeah.
6 years, $53 million.
Sounds good
which
to me.
I guess that's just what he probably would have made in arbitration.
Yeah. Just speeding up the process. You're guaranteeing all that. Good for him. Fine by me. Any nugs, Jay? Hey, you got any nugs on Hunter Greene or anything?
I mean, we all know he blows gas. I do have a nug to send us out of here.
Please do.
I mean, not that. Just my final thought. That's what I had ready to go.
Go ahead.
Justin Steele's on the bump today.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's paying attention to the Cubs really because they're kind of boring and bad. But I mean, they might have like a breakout frontline guy on their hands because it's not just this season where Justin Steele has been excellent. He's got 3 starts. He's allowed 3 total runs in those starts. But if you go back to June 29th of last season to the present, so a span of 13 starts, he has a 1.47 ERA. To go with 83 strikeouts and a opponent's OPS below 600 over that stretch. So,
how many innings?
73 and a third.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So something to keep an eye out.
What's that K9? That's got to be like high 10s.
What's that? Strikeouts per 9? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be high 10s.
Yeah. 84 and 73 and a third. Plus, you've got him going up against the Oakland A's today. So that ERA is going down.
You say that, but the swinging A's every now and then they'll put up a force spot. You watch out, they'll get you.
I can't believe you call the Cubs boring, dude. The Cubs have a lot of players with something to prove.
Patrick Wisdom. Patrick Wisdom is the MLB home run leader. He had a 2-homer game the other night. Had a
Cody
big
Bellinger,
double.
5 hits yesterday for Cody Bellinger.
Cody Bellinger had the RBI knock in the 8th inning to make it 1-0, and then I believe Patrick Wisdom doubled after that. Patrick Wisdom and Cody Bellinger, 2 guys to watch this year.
Spread it up, chicken titties. Ian Happ just signed. Is he going to prove that he's worth it? Dansby Swanson. People in Atlanta are talking shit.
Why? What are they saying?
They said, oh, he left us. He's making bad quotes about how the Cubs are so good. Dansby Swanson will be like, I love Chicago. It's like, I love the franchise. Everything about here is sick. And Braves fans are like, fuck you. How dare you say that you like the Cubs who were better?
I love how the 2 notable Braves guys to leave were clearly left because the organization did not want to sign them.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Freddie?
Yes.
They gave him the same money the Dodgers did.
Yeah, after insulting him 5 times.
Yeah. He got in his feels about it. Dansby Swanson, you may not have noticed this because he plays for the Cubs and they may or may not be boring. I don't know. But he's hitting .344 to start his Cubs career with a .420 on base percentage. Not a lot of pop. So the OPS 814 still very good. But the slug being .393 is well below what he has done in call it the last 3 years prior. Yeah, his slug since the start of 2019 is .444. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with old Dansby. But for now, great start to his Cubs career. He loves Chicago.
Yandy homered on the first pitch. 1-0 Rays.
For real?
1-0 Rays.
They just keep winning, man.
Glad I got my $4 bet in on the Rays to start the game.
Smart guy.
On DraftKings.
They're playing the Reds again? Yeah. There you go. All right. We will be back tomorrow to talk about what happens in baseball today, plus what's coming ahead this weekend. What other stories arise over that span of time? Thanks for listening. Joe, any final thoughts?
We gone.